describe, you said you do a lot of masses in homes or in the community, you said, and I think you said something which is beautiful, which is the people of the church in that community. Can you describe what happens at a mass in the community that you're in?
Again, this is the tradition built up with Hans Hendricks. So the people are encouraged to just each day the lady, the household will put in, before she puts in for cooking, she will put aside one handful for the offering, and then she brings the offering of the month or the week, she brings that to the Mass, and she brings it to where I have made the sacred space at the time of offering. She'll bring that and she'll put it there and do what we call debot, that is salutation. Now Hans's genius was also to that sacred space that I described. That's how they do their animal sacrifice. And Hans describes when he was a young priest and he was doing Mass in the Western style amongst the people. When he talked about sacrifice, they were saying, what sacrifice? For them, no sacrifice without the shedding of blood. So how could he get across the notion of sacrifice? He did it by putting it in the context of how they do their animal sacrifice, and then making the point, okay, when we come to the Mass, it is not the blood of, Hebrew says goats and bulls, and Hans says it's not the goat of chicken, it's not the blood of goats and chickens, but it's the blood of the beloved of the Father. And they get the point. That didn't come overnight. He had great discussions, long discussions with the elders. How do we do this? How do we do that? He's prepared a whole handbook for the time of birth, the time of death, the time of marriage, the time of feasts. And it is providential how well the Christian feasts, when you make the effort, how well the Christian feasts and the Christian celebrations fit in with their own tribal celebrations of those things. For instance, at the time of death, they will shave their head as a sign of purification, and they'll go to the river and they'll make offering there in the name of the deceased, and they'll come back to the house, and they look for the spirit to bring him into the house. So we do the puja in that context, and say, it's not just bringing him into the house, but he's kept in God's providence. He's kept in Jesus, and he's there with us. He's already there with us, and he's part of the communion of saints. And so when we, in the old days, you had a special place in the middle of the house to keep the spirits. You now can keep a cross there, and he's there with Jesus, and they appreciate that.